I am a new poet.
3, 2, 1, speak poet!
Mom was the only person who could talk to him, to help him see that she wasn't wrong, that she could be good, that she could listen. She wipes the glisten of a stale tear off her cheek. She wasn't weak, but she couldn't speak on a level that he would understand. And so a young girl stands before her mom, begging to be better treated, understood, fought for, because her voice doesn't hold any weight in her fate. She can't navigate the irate berating of her father, but her mom can. Last summer, a woman stood against the bars of a cell, begging for her children to be brought back to her. Like the young girl before her mom, her voice was gone, but not because she didn't have anything to say. She'd come to the land of the free, where she was guaranteed asylum from the pains and terrors she was fleeing. And it wasn't because they couldn't translate her language or substantiate her claim that they incarcerated this mother and took the fate of her children into their own hands. It was the dictate of a man trying to incriminate refugees and aggravate the public, make them think that it was great to rate a race and hate a face they didn't even know. I'm not trying to exaggerate or create this debate. I just want to communicate the hate that discriminates and procrastinates and leaves her voice underrated, underweighted, and her children lost and jaded. In October, a man stood in front of a courthouse begging for his gender to be acknowledged by the state. Like the woman in the cell, his voice was quelled, but not because he didn't have anything to say, but because in another act of pure frustration, this administration of discrimination denied him his rights. His DNA didn't say how he'd gotten where he was today. It couldn't tell the story of everything he'd been through. He could tell that story, but no one would listen. In September, a woman stood in front of a handful of senators and every camera in the world, begging for the abuse she'd experienced to be legitimized. Like the man at the court, she received no support, but not because she didn't have anything to say. Those around her had been fighting a war of ideals, and her appeal had been caught in the center of it all. As they fought, I'm sure she realized that the help she sought was not going to come from them. It didn't matter that there were dozens of other options. It didn't matter that her claims were true. It didn't matter that her abuser behaved like an imbecile. It didn't matter what she said, because the president was going to make a point. And it was going to be by appointing her abuser. 10 years ago, I was a little girl standing before my mother, begging her to speak for me. I knew I didn't have a voice. I knew my dad didn't see me as an equal. I knew that to him I was less, but I knew that he would listen to Mom. And now we have a president that treats the world like children. Anyone that isn't like him is less than him. Immigrants don't share the color of his skin, so why should he let them win? He has robbed them of their voice. He can't understand the queer community, so how can he give them equal opportunity? He's robbed them of their voice. Women have tried to stand against him, but they're thrown away at his whim. He's robbed me of my voice. So here I stand like I did 10 years ago, appealing to someone who has more power in the situation than I do. You, all of you. You who are still safe in the assumption that he can't do anything too bad in 4 years. You who are still safe in the assumption that you can just wait for the next election. You whose rights haven't been jeopardized by this administration. You who are safe, or think you are. You cannot be complicit, because you're the last ones with a voice that he might listen to. So speak. Speak for the Latina woman praying for her children in a jail cell. Speak. Speak for the transgender man waiting at the courthouse. Speak. Speak for women who have been abused and need justice. Speak. Speak for me. Speak. Because we sure have a lot we'd like to say.